Hello and welcome to Nationwide, reaching you live from Abuja. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. Thanks for joining us. 384 Nigerians have been evacuated from Saudi Arabia. The returnees, comprising 300 males, 83 females and 1 child, arrived Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport this afternoon. The returnees were quarantined at the Federal Capital Territory Hajj camp for 14 days, in line with the COVID-19 protocols by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. It would be recalled that Nigerians in Saudi Arabia have been stranded as a result of visa expiration and restriction of travel as a result of coronavirus. Violation of COVID-19 protocols and guidelines is now a punishable offense in the country. This follows President Buhari's approval of the Coronavirus Disease Health Protection Regulations 2021. PTF Chairman and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, says this is an exercise of the powers conferred on the President by Section 4 of the Quarantine Act. Mitaire Ikpen tells us more.
As contained in the Coronavirus Disease Health Protection Regulations 2021, the health and safety protocols and guidelines issued by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 on the recommendation of the NCDC shall be binding on all persons. No person shall be allowed within any public premises such as offices, schools, banks, worship places, and public transportation vehicles without face covering, hand hygiene, use of sanitizers, and temperature checks. No gathering of more than 50 persons shall hold in an enclosed space except for religious purposes, in which case the gathering shall not exceed 50% capacity of the space. Any person who without reasonable cause obstructs an authorized official from enforcement of these regulations commits an offense. An offense under the regulations is punishable on summary conviction by a fine or a term of 6 months imprisonment or both, in accordance with Section 5 of the Quarantine Act. Any officer of the enforcement agencies who fails to enforce the regulations shall be subject to disciplinary action by the disciplinary body of his respective agency.
And in consideration of the urgent need to protect the health and well-being of Nigerians in the face of widespread and rising numbers of COVID-19 cases in Nigeria, he has signed these regulations, and they are quite comprehensive, all in an attempt to ensure that we effectively deal with this second surge. You remember during the first surge he signed one. This is an update with regards to this second surge, and I believe that if we receive the cooperation of Nigerians, it will limit our interfering with their social and private lives. But we need their cooperation. If we don't get the cooperation, government will not have any choice but to continue to interfere with their social and private lives.
The COVID-19 regulations now approved by the President are expected to give impetus to all existing protocols and guidelines that will help Nigeria win the fight against the pandemic. Meanwhile, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has formally presented to the Federal Ministry of Health 5 ambulances donated by corporate bodies to facilitate prompt response to critical cases of COVID-19. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikpen, NTA News.
Now, considering the urgent need to protect Nigerians in the face of rising cases of COVID-19 in the country, President Buhari signed into law the COVID-19 Health Protection Regulation. The new law, which takes immediate effect, is binding on all Nigerians. It upholds all COVID-19 safety protocols and puts in place penalties for offenders. Joining me in the studio to throw light on the new law is a legal practitioner, Kayode Ajulo. Thanks for coming to our studio.
Oh, thank you very much.
Now, let's start this way. What is your interpretation of the 6-part COVID-19 Health Protection Act?
Well, if one need to interpret it, it's just to say it in a good mood. That's a positive development. It is something that have been awaited for long, and that's why you can see the report there. Section 4 of the Quarantine Act give the president power to make such regulation whenever there's outbreak of what we are talking about. And it's been quite some time, and the president has done that. And I think we need to commend the president. We need to salute the courage. And it is for us as citizens and whosoever, including law enforcement agency, to immediately comply with that regulation.
Now, talking about sanctions, penalties for offenders have been instituted in accordance with the quarantine law, and these include jail terms. Would you say these are far-reaching?
No, it's not far-reaching, considering what we are trying to protect. We are trying to protect life. And mind you, this is a situation where somebody is trying to protect your life. Think that you need not die mindlessly. And the essence is to ensure that there's penalty for those whosoever try to violate the law or try to trample on the law. It is something, it's a law that is pro-life. And I believe we need, even if there must be any stringent penalty, more than what is it, I think that it warrants that. It warrants that. We are talking of life here.
Now, we also know that enforcement has been a major challenge, especially when it comes to issues like this. But what can be done this time around to ensure massive compliance? And
that is one of the novel aspect of that law. Apart from the civil populace, the law of enforcement agency, you can see that there's even provision for them, that despite the fact that you are the one to uphold the law, you are the one to protect the law, you are the one to ensure law of another, anywhere you are found wanting, your respective agency, disciplinary committee, you'll be dealt with. And that will show you the seriousness, the stringent, and the essence of this law is to ensure that irrespective of whosoever you are, that law must be, we must uphold the law, and we must ensure that we save our lives.
Now, let's talk more and look down a little bit more now. This particular law, is it binding on state governments?
Well, save to the issue of the immunity clause, apart from which is we are talking of the president, we are talking of the governors, the deputy and their deputies and vices. I think apart from that, it's binding on everybody, including the government. And that's where you can see part of the section of that regulation talk specifically, address specifically law enforcement agency. That is why you see some police, they believe they can do anything to say, yes, I'm a policeman or I'm a police officer. Now the law has taken care of that. When you are found wanting, your respective disciplinary bodies in your agency will be dealt with. And I think we need to take it so serious. And that's why you can see this afternoon, you can see the way everybody is complying with it, despite the fact that you are in the studio. You still have to cover your face. It's not about inconvenience. And when you talked about whether the law covers some government, even no governor would like to die. I want to believe, no president, the life is so sweet for them to do that. So I believe we need to be so serious about it. This is about life, like I said earlier. It is something that there must be absolute compliance, even down to religious body, down to banks, everywhere. You must comply.
And compliance definitely will be of essence and very essential if we are to reduce the figures and also that's flatten the curve of COVID-19 in the country.
Absolutely.
Kayode Ajulo, legal practitioner, I would like to thank you for coming on Nationwide today.
I'm grateful. Thank you very much.
Let's move on the news. The National Orientation Agency is engaging the public and institutions on the need to tighten up COVID-19 safety protocols against the ravaging second wave of the viral infection. To this end, the agency visited some schools in Nasarawa State to check the level of compliance with COVID-19 non-pharmaceutical measures. Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila reports.
A typical school in the Karumaraba axis in Nasarawa State. On these days, such schools are having the opportunity to know more on the culture of hygiene against the COVID-19 scourge, courtesy the National Orientation Agency.
I do not feel comfortable with the face mask because of the spread of COVID-19, and we have to put it on. That is why we are still managing the face mask.
We made sure that everything that we are doing, we are very conscious of coronavirus.
To NOAA, it has been a routine to engage schools and other public institutions on the need to stay safe and protect others from the viral infection.
And the parents must also insist or ensure that they observe the protocols so that when the children see it, they also will take a leave.
With such engagements, NOAA is optimistic that members of the public will come to terms with the dangers of the virus and work towards being safe. In Abuja, Abraham Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has reiterated Nigeria's commitment to working with the international community towards achieving global peace, food security and sustainable environment. This was while receiving in audience 3 new ambassadors posted to the country on tour of duty. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
The 3 new envoys who are in the State House, Nigeria's seat of government, to present their letters of credence to President Muhammadu Buhari are Ihad Mustafa Awad of Egypt, Faisal Ibrahim Al-Gamdi of Saudi Arabia, and Alejandro Francisco Herrero of Argentina. Addressing the envoys shortly after, President Buhari congratulated them for officially commencing diplomatic functions in Nigeria. He hopes that their respective mandates will be utilized towards improving cordial relations with the country, consistent with the Vienna Convention and global best practices.
Nigeria also enjoys very good bilateral relations with your respective countries. We are to pursue bilateral dialogue as well as build cooperation on the basis of constructive mutual respect and a shared vision for the future. Nigeria is a nation of great diversity, and we are ready to always convert these diversities to advantages.
In addition to the United Nations, President Buhari said all the 3 countries are also members of the G77 and the South-South cooperation, which Nigeria is proud to be associated with. Nigeria and the home countries of the envoys, he said, have common challenges, which include terrorism, insurgency, climate change, population explosion, human trafficking, corruption, poverty, and proliferation of small arms and light weapons.
On top of all this, the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic has come with different strains that pose additional challenges to the initial outbreak. These challenges underscore the need for the international community to work even more in concert to collectively identify appropriate ways and means to globally resolve these challenges.
Ambassador Ihad Mustafa of Egypt, who spoke on behalf of the envoys, assured the president of their commitment to work with his administration to further enhance and strengthen their country's friendship and partnership with Nigeria.
We noted with appreciation the effort exerted to make us feel welcome. We would count on your kind support and guidance to this end.
The 3 new ambassadors were earlier on arrival accorded a befitting diplomatic welcome by officers and soldiers of the Presidential Guards Brigade. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
4 deaths have been recorded due to the outbreak of gastroenteritis in 2 communities in Sokoto State. Shehu Muhammad Detti reports that a committee has been set up by the state government to ascertain the cause of the outbreak.
The communities affected by the outbreak of gastroenteritis are Helele and Koparkwari, all in Sokoto metropolis. Some residents of the area speak on the strange disease. As at the time of compiling this report, 56 persons were affected by the gastroenteritis and have been hospitalized.
Yesterday we find out outbreak of gastroenteritis in Helele area.
Sokoto State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Muhammad Ali Ename, said the committee had started engaging members of the affected community.
Some dump sites
pipes that are crossing. I think contamination happened to the pipe-borne water, and so many people got gastroenteritis.
We're going to go around the area and address all the illegal activities that are going on, especially those that are connecting their waste pipe to the central drainage.
The Commissioner of Health said efforts are being intensified to tackle the problem. In Sokoto, Shio Muhammad Detti, NTA News.
Lagos is our first port of call where Awal has a cheering news for police officers. Hello, Awal.
Ayo, it's good to see you. To engender good governance and promote the principle of democratic practice, citizens must be ready to demand accountability and evaluation of government's policies. This view formed the nucleus of the 16th annual Adekunle Memorial Lecture held by the Institution of Surveyors, Lagos State Branch. Michael Olale has details.
These awards and honors are pointer to the indelible marks the late Adekunle Kukoyi left in the sands of time. 19 years after his demise, this memorial lecture has become a platform to eulogize his remarkable contributions to humanity across various spheres.
A man who talked the talk and walked his talk. Great men are never forgotten by history. One way or another, history remembers them.
The focus this time is on review of the nation's institutional capacity for improved performance and economic growth, which the resource person suggests must start with identity management. Granting full autonomy to local government, as explained by the seasoned professional broadcaster, is key to providing enabling environment for cottage industries and entrepreneurship to thrive.
Every individual has a right to ask your leader, your senator, your house rep, your local government chairman questions.
While contributing its quota to inspiring societal change through its platforms, this surveying profession is not forgetting its mentorship responsibility, as awards were presented to winners of the 16th annual Adekunle Kukoyi Memorial Essay Competition.
You must survey your land. That's the first prerequisite for registration of your title.
The late Adekunle Kukoyi Memorial Lecture was instituted in 2005 to remind the public some of the enduring legacies of the former president of the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors. In Lagos, Michael Lale, NT News.
The Nigerian Police Force says it will sustain various initiatives designed to address welfare concerns of its operatives, particularly in the area of bridging housing deficit. Inspector General of Police Mohammed Adamu said this while flagging off a mass housing scheme for senior police officers in Lagos. Adeni Taiwo reports.
With the critical role that officers and men of the Nigerian Police Force are mandated to play in ensuring security of lives and property, it is only necessary that government and other stakeholders provide them with necessary incentive that can spur them on. Provision of a good accommodation to shelter them after a hard day's job is a good start.
Every police personnel desire a decent home to return to after an exciting day's duty. The project being executed at this site today serves to fulfill this purpose, and it was also designed to restore the dignity of an average police officer.
Initiated in 2018 under a public-private partnership with a property management company, the scheme is expected to deliver a total of 80 sets of 3-bedroom apartments, 10 flats per building. The edifice, according to stakeholders, signposts the resolve of police authorities to prioritize the welfare of officers going forward.
He is bent on redeveloping the barracks that we always complain that they are an eyesore. The officers are men that will move into this building. The moment we discover that a particular beneficiary is not taking good care of their accommodation, we'll eject him.
So the entirety of this place is going to be fully redeveloped for the benefit of the Nigerian police force. And they hope that the people who safeguard our lives and properties would at least leave home every day and have befitting accommodation to come back to.
With a 2-year timeline for completion, the barracks is expected to shed its old look for a new one, with gradual relocation of benefiting officers. In Lagos, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
And now to the judiciary, where 2 cases were struck out and 9 others adjourned for further hearing at the Lagos State Judicial Panel on restitution for victims of SARS and related abuses. Jennifer Igwe reports that the petitioners are seeking justice and compensation for injuries they sustained from police brutality.
Petitioner Suleiman Ibrahim narrated how he was allegedly shot in the neck by one Corporal Sunday David attached to the disbanded SARS in 2016. He said after the incident, he has been unable to walk even after undergoing surgery and physiotherapy treatment.
The doctor later discovered that the bullet has penetrated from his neck and come out from his spinal cord.
Another petitioner, Oladoyin Ademola, told the panel how on the 18th of April 2007, he sustained serious eye injuries after a policeman slapped him at a checkpoint very close to Dokpemu police station. He claimed that he was diagnosed of trauma cataract and had to undergo a series of tests and a surgery, all to no avail. Their cases were adjourned to February 16 and 27. The panel struck out the case of Al-Barker Youth Food Sellers Association against the Nigerian Police Force.
Dated 26 January 2021, for a withdrawal of this petition, the subject matter being before a regular court, the withdrawal notice not objected to, the petition is accordingly hereby struck out.
Dr. Falaye Oludari Stevens' case against the Nigerian Police Force was struck out based on an email notice of withdrawal by the petitioner. Other cases heard at the sitting were adjourned for further hearing. In Lagos, Jennifer Igwe, NTA News.
You're watching NTA Nationwide. More reports coming up after this timeout.
You're welcome back. Oyo State Judicial Panel of Inquiry on Police Brutality and Other Related Abuse has commenced hearing on all the petitions received. Kayode Oladosu reports that the panel has received and treated 68 petitions up till date.
At the inaugural sitting of the panel, which is meant only for petitions to be mentioned, had in appearance both the petitioners and the defendants, as 10 petitions were mentioned. Some of the petitioners were not present, and in the case of those present, their respondents were absent. Also, the police, the main defendant in all the petitions mentioned, were absent at the hearing.
I want to sound this note of warning. Nobody is above the law. And nobody is above the federal government or the state government. I know they have a new commissioner of police in Oyo State, and if possible, some members of this panel will pay her a visit to let her know the importance of the police appearing before this panel.
The 11-member panel was inaugurated by Governor Seyi Makinde on November 11, 2020 in Ibadan. Kayode Oladosu, NTA News.
Balance and fairness are critical watchwords in journalism ethics. It goes to say that reporters must present all sides of a story in a manner that justifies accuracy and truth. But the heavy reliance on social media feeds as news sources is raising fresh alarm about the impact of fake news on national development. Ayo Adewuyi in this report looks back at the reportage of End SARS protests in Nigeria.
Some believe journalists can never succeed in being completely balanced and fair in telling all sides of a story. Media experts, however, say objectivity in journalism helps the audience to make up their own mind about a story.
A report is not complete if you don't get both sides of the story.
Some media houses, including the conventional ones, tend to publish unconfirmed social media feeds that at best tell a story only in pieces, as many believed was done by the CNN during the NSAS protest in Nigeria.
CNN merely said the videos were obtained by CNN without saying where from and whether or not it authenticated them.
There is no denying the fact that deceptive news stories are blooming on the social media, and with the recent attack on the Capitol in the United States of America, security experts are raising the alarm over potential national security and intelligence risks.
There are a lot of inaccuracies in the social media, so the danger is there, especially for conventional media.
The negative impact of the social media on national security has been so highlighted by the media, with the CNN leading the new trend of advocacy, a consideration that was not given to similar situation during the NSAS protest in Nigeria.
The danger there is that people can cook up any story and put it on the social media without any verification, without any basis of factuality, and it will go very wide, can mislead people and cause chaos.
CNN reports indicating that the social media is still fueling extremism may have confirmed the federal government position that the organization's reports on NSAS protests in Nigeria relying on the social media actually aggravated the destructions.
The NSAS protests were exacerbated by some of the exaggerations that were out there on the social media. Some of the not so true things that people posted, they inflamed passions and triggered people to act in a way that was antisocial.
If CNN had done its investigation properly, it would have known how fake news and disinformation were trending during the NSAS crisis.
Dependence on social media information, which plays such critical role in shaping the socio-economic development of the society, raises new concerns about igniting cycle of violence and ultimately impact negatively on national security. Ayo Adewi, NTA News.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has rearranged former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Bello Adoke and Aliyu Abubakar, over their alleged complicity in the multi-billion-dollar Malibu oil scam. They were arraigned on a 42-count charge along with others before the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory on the Oil Prospecting License OPL 245, otherwise known as Malibu Oil. The judge ordered Adoke, Aliyu and Benige to remain on bail, earlier granted them by the court. Justice Kutigi adjourned the case till April 14 and 15 for hearing. Time now to join Debabari in Port Harcourt for more on Nationwide. Hi, Debabari.
Hello, Ayodeji, and welcome to Port Harcourt. The Rivers State Judicial Panel of Inquiry into alleged illegalities perpetrated by the Nigerian police has concluded its public hearing. Ijoma Ogweke reports that out of the 187 cases scheduled for hearing, 76 were struck out for abuse of court process and lack of jurisdiction. Her report.
The hearing came to a conclusion with 14 cases comprising alleged murder cases, destruction of property at Asarama community, brutality and extortion by officers and men of the police force.
I needed an apology. I was wrongly arrested, which the police refused to give to me. Then also I applied that the proceeding of what took place in the Bodali room trial should be given to me, but to no avail. All the police keep on doing to shield those people that came to my pharmacy to assault me. So they detained me. They removed my face masks. They had gone when I was asked to remove my boxer, to remove my trousers. I was left with only boxer. I was thrown into a cell.
The panel is now set for conference with a total of 101 cases selected out of the 187 petitions received. The selected cases were those that met required standards and within the ambit of the Commission's terms of reference.
This brings to end our public sitting. I think I'm correct. I have appeared here
on a number of days, and I've seen that the commission is fair, giving room for everyone to have his turn.
The 30th day of the panel sitting brings to an end the public hearing of cases by the Commission of Inquiry. In Port Harcourt, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
Governor Udom Emmanuel has expressed satisfaction with the level of work done on the dual carriage Ring Road 3, a link road network connecting 3 local government areas of Akwa Ibom State, which he says is intended to improve the economic prospect of the state. The governor said this when he inspected the maintenance, repair, and overhaul facility at the Victor Wata International Airport and the ongoing Ring Road project. Susanna Sukwa reports.
At the first Executive Council meeting for the year 2021, Governor Udom Emmanuel had said that he will stimulate the economy by injecting 50 billion naira for completion of all ongoing road projects and other life-touching projects across the state. Work, of course, had commenced at major construction sites in the state. On arrival in the state after an official engagement, Governor Udom Emmanuel had a brief stopover at Ring Road 3, a 10-kilometer stretch of road linking Nwangiba and Akan-Nomodo Road in Ibesikwa-Sultan local government area from Oron Road within Uyo, the state capital. While expressing satisfaction with the pace and quality of work done by an indigenous contractor, the governor stressed that road constructions across the state, especially the Ring Road 3 project, is to improve the economic perspective of the state.
And then look at the number of lanes we've opened up here. This is 10 lanes with this kind of median that is almost 10.5. You don't find this kind of road anywhere in this region and in this part of the world.
Managing Director of the construction company, Uwe Mokoko, hinted that the 4.5-kilometer stretch of the road from Oron Road to Nwangiba is designed to ease movement and traffic congestion along Oron Road.
And I want to assure His Excellency and the people of Akwa Ibom State that this road will be completed by May 2021 to world-class standard.
The 10-kilometer stretch of road at completion will link Nwangiba, Oron Road, and Akan-Nomodo Road. The governor also inspected the MRO facility at Victor Wata International Airport. In Uyo, Susan Asukwo, NTA News.
And that does it from Port Harcourt. Is back to Ayodeji for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Thanks, Dibabari. And now back in Abuja, the Secretary General of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, Mohammed Sanusi Barkindo, says the declaration of cooperation in its 5th year has helped the industry traverse 2 historic downturns by bringing together 23 oil-producing nations to help return balance to the global oil market and achieve a sustainable stability in the interest of both producers and consumers. Lydia Sampson reports.
COVID-19 pandemic pervaded almost every aspect of daily lives, with widespread lockdowns, economies in major distress, and many businesses shorted in. In terms of the oil and gas industry, every producer was impacted. No one was immune. The Declaration of Cooperation, now Charter of Cooperation, illustrated in April 2020 when the price of West Texas Intermediate crude oil went negative and the industry faced a potential crude oversupply of nearly 1.3 billion barrels. Again, OPEC agreed on the largest and longest production adjustments in the history of OPEC and the oil industry. OPEC Secretary General said this is an outstanding example of the multilateral approach which ushered in a new era in global energy cooperation. He said the diligent and coordinated response to voluntary production adjustment decisions taken by the DOC helped rebalance the market and revived the industry.
Oil market stability and more broadly energy market stability will be vital to the energy transition. Stability begets stability, and this will be essential to helping bring on board the huge investments required in the years ahead.
Barkindo says it has been one step at a time, guided by data analysis and robustly supported by the strong multilateral process of OPEC already in place. He said the pursuit of global multilateralism to help drive the global energy transition cannot be overemphasized. Though vaccines offer some needed light at the end of the tunnel, the ever-increasing number of COVID-19 cases, human loss, as well as renewed lockdowns are a harsh reminder of how delicate the situation remains. Nevertheless, Okekindo says OPEC is cautiously optimistic of global economic rebound in 2021, as well as for significant oil demand growth. He called for continued month-by-month approach to assessing market conditions while standing ready to take any necessary action through the DOC. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
The world is said to be in a fight for survival of planet, nature and biodiversity. United Nations Deputy Secretary General and Nigeria's former Minister of Environment, Amina Mohammed, alongside other speakers at the World Economic Forum session on climate action, insist that the time to act and protect the environment is now. Onengiye Fineface reports.
Conversations on mobilizing action on climate change at the World Economic Forum considered how major economies can accelerate efforts to meet the Paris Climate Agreement goals.
A zero-emissions future offers remarkable opportunity for business, for clean, green jobs, for economic growth.
Over the last 30 years, in the UK, we've managed to grow our economy, GDP by 75%, cut emissions by 43%. Green growth is absolutely possible. If we work together, we can have success.
United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed said, young people must take the center stage in showing climate ambition, just as global financing needs to be increased to meet the Paris Agreement.
But finance matters. And if we're not going to get the finance that is going to be invested in these just transitions, it's going to be incredibly difficult for us to live up to whatever commitment that we make. The 2030 timeline is important because it is now that you want to respond to that green recovery.
Meanwhile, Nigeria is poised to officially join the World Economic Forum's Global Plastic Action Partnership to translate plastic pollution commitments into concrete solutions. Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
It's now time to join Abubakar in Maiduguri for reports from that zone. Over to you, Abubakar.
Good afternoon, Ayodeji, and thanks for joining us here. Borno State government has called for more collaboration with the United Nations to address security and humanitarian challenges confronting the state. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum made the call when he received the UN Under-Secretary General for Safety and Security, Gilles Michaud, at the Government House, Maiduguri. Mohammed Goni completes the story.
United Nations Department for Safety and Security was in the state to assess the security and humanitarian situation to enable the UN take informed decision on the way forward. Governor Babagana Umar highlighted the devastation caused by the insurgency, also noted the tremendous improvement in the security situation, which led to agitation by the IDPs to return home to normal life, stressing that resettlement of communities is done in compliance with the Kampala Convention.
We need to understand the nexus between peace, security, and development. There is no peace, there is no security. There is no security, there is no development.
The governor who informed the UN delegation that 20 communities have so far been earmarked for resettlement to enable people engaged in livelihood activities, also assured that government has plans which take into account the safety and security of communities being resettled. Professor Zulum noted the need to address the trust deficit between the civilian population and the Nigerian military, promote political solutions in addition to the kinetic measures, as well as synergy between the INGOs working in Borno and the state government, among other suggestions offered, assuring the UN delegation of cooperation of the Borno state government. The United Nations Under-Secretary General for Safety and Security, Gilles Michaud, appreciated the efforts made by the federal government and the Borno state, which he said enabled the UN to reach out to 5 million people with humanitarian support in 2020. The envoy further informed that the UN has opened 8 new humanitarian hubs, and the further assured that all the suggestions and concerns raised by Governor Zulum will be taken back to UN headquarters in New York. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
Borno State government has flagged off distribution of second phase of 1 billion naira cash support to small and medium-scale entrepreneurs in the state in collaboration with the Bank of Industry as part of post-insurgency economic recovery and empowerment of the citizenry. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum flagged off the disbursement exercise in Biu town, headquarters of Biu local government area of Borno State. Mohammed Goni again reports that the interest-free loan will be paid in 4 years with assurances of 50% waiver to those who pay on schedule.
It will be recalled that
Borno State government disbursed 1 billion naira to SMSEs last year to revive the economic sector in the state. The second phase of the disbursement include 300 million naira for traders and association in Biu, out of which 2,000 beneficiaries got 30,000 naira each. 1,000 beneficiaries received 100,000 naira, while 500 beneficiaries received 200,000 naira each. 40 beneficiaries have received 500,000 naira, while 20 businessmen and women were given 1 million naira each. Empowerment program for Biu local government also include 40 tricycles presented to riders as well as 40 buses for road transport workers. Beneficiaries of the 1 billion naira cash support presented were 150 million naira. Also include traders and association in Babanlai, Gamboru Market, and the Kolanot Dealers Milk Shop, all in the metropolis, as well as traders and association from Goza, Gamborungala, Mobor, and local government areas. Beneficiaries of the cash and other support were full of praises to Governor Zulum, describing the gesture as first of its kind.
Mu yan biyu muna mika godiya mu matan kasuwa.
Not only in the local government area of Borno State, but also in the entire local government state.
The governor used the opportunity to ban political thuggery, popularly called Ekomok, in Biu, warning that government will not condone indiscipline in any form, with a call on politicians sponsoring thuggery to desist or be dealt with. Commissioner for Trade, Investment and Tourism, Yerima Lawan Kareto, urged the beneficiaries to ensure judicious utilization of the cash support to improve their capital base. From Biu headquarters of Biu local government, Mohamed Goni, NTA News.
And those are the latest stories for now from Maiduguri. Let's now return to Ayodeji in Abuja for more reports. So, Ayodeji.
Thank you, Abubakar. Now a bit of agriculture. More than 6,000 farmers have been trained on various agricultural production and processing in Kano State under the federal government's appeal project. Kano State Deputy Governor Nasiru Yusuf Gawuna disclosed this during the pre-6th implementation support mission of the Agro-Processing Productivity Enhancement and Livelihood Improvement Support Project held in Kano. Awal Salisu has details.
The appeals project is designed to enhance agro-productivity of small and medium-scale farmers and improve value addition along 3 priority value chains of rice, wheat and tomato, with a view to augment farmers' linkages with agro-processors. Kano State Deputy Governor and Commissioner of Agriculture, Nasiru Yusuf Gawuna, said the state government partners appeals project to support local production, to enhance job creation and promote economic diversification.
Of supporting local production through provision of improved production inputs to achieve increased productivity, production, processing, and marketing of agricultural produce.
It's no other way for us to be in Kano with our interacting with these beneficiaries to know how they feel about the budget, listen to them.
The Deputy Governor later inaugurated improved grassroots processing technology at Dala Wheat Processing Facility and evaporating cooling system for tomato farmers. In Kano, Awal Salisu, NTA News.
The federal government has expressed confidence in the application of sour technology-based rice demonstration farm at Yewa North local government area of Ogun State in boosting rice production in the country. This was the fallout of the official inauguration of the Sour Eco Technology for Rice Farming by the National Center for Agriculture Mechanization in Ogun State. Yemi Dalimo reports.
Ogun State was among the states chosen by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development for the use of improved water management and mechanization for rice production. Addressing the beneficiaries, who are youth from Shamojo Rice Farm Settlement, Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun represented, described the project as apt for the success of the agricultural diversification agenda of the federal government.
This is a climate-smart agriculture where farmers can start planting in December. When everybody thinks you can plant. And during that, the same dry season, we are also harvesting. This rice was planted during the dry season, harvested during the dry season, everything even done during the pandemic. So that means in Ogun State, we have solution for what? For coronavirus, for drought, for climate, and you can see it happen.
This system is the perfect system for
ecological balance and reduces global warming.
Growing crops all year round in Ogun State beneficiaries say will no doubt boost food security in Nigeria and reduce stress from non-irrigated farming. In Abuja, Yemi Dalimo, NTA News.
Let's join Mina in Enugu for the next set of reports. Over to you, Mina.
Hello, Ayodeji. Good evening and welcome to Enugu. Government at all levels have been called upon to support social organizations that work with youths and ensure that they instill in them the spirit of good leadership, discipline and dignity of labor, critical attributes for a better society. This is more ways than one to arrest youth restiveness in the country. Secretary to the Enugu State Government, Professor Simon Otuaya, made the suggestion when he received the leadership of the Man-O-War Nigeria on behalf of the state governor at the Government House, Enugu. Susan Eze has the report.
At a time like now, when Nigerian youths are in their need of gainful occupations to keep them from crimes and criminalities, voluntary organizations that instill leadership skills, respect, dignity and other virtues in young minds, such as the Man-O-War, could play vital roles in stemming the tide of youth restiveness in parts of the country. Secretary to the state government, who received the Man-O-War team from the Southeast Zone on behalf of Governor Ogwani, believes that supporting organizations such as the Man-O-War will help sanitize the minds of the youth, making them more receptive to government's youth empowerment and development programs.
If the youths are not properly trained, then our future as a people is doomed. It is of paramount importance that an organization like Man-O-War be sustained in our society.
The main prayer of the team, led by the National Patron Southeast Zone, is for the Enugu State Government to give the group approval to reinstate the Man-O-War in the secondary schools in the state to help in restoring discipline in the system.
Man-O-War officers in schools, if reintroduced, will also assist in maintaining COVID-19 preventive measures to check the spread of the pandemic in the state.
Beyond character building, the Man-O-War group is also involved in peacekeeping, rescue operations, and disaster management. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
Residents in Enugu have called for the opening of more NIN registration centers to decongest the existing ones, thereby discouraging large gatherings as part of COVID-19 safety protocols. Chimaroke Egu, who has been monitoring the exercise, brings us an update.
The situation at the various NIMC centers visited is not encouraging, as people lament of coming as early as 6 in the morning and end up not being registered the same day.
They are coming here. These NIM people, they fail to address us on a daily basis. And then some of us, like me now, I've been here since Monday. You will come, they will just come and do their things very rowdy, not organized at all. And they'll tell us to go home, come back tomorrow.
So if you're talking about spreading coronavirus, this is the right place to spread it. I think this thing should be suspended.
And even this right now, this very afternoon that I came, there's one elderly woman that they brought. And the woman, before they should take the woman inside, she collapsed inside there.
However, the state coordinator of National Identity Management Commission, Enugu, said that they have mapped out measures to decongest registration centers.
There's a challenge of handling everybody at the same time. And that's why the Honorable Minister now directed all our offices to ensure that we adopt what is called the appointment register. So you come and choose a date convenient to you to be registered, and you come back that day. But you see people who still get that appointment and still wait in our centers, hoping to be attended the same day. It's not possible.
The people have urged the government to extend the deadline to enable all to register and adhere to COVID-19 protocols. In Enugu, Chimaroke, Ugu, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Ayo, it's back to you for the rest of the news.
Thanks, Mina. The Global Hope and Justice for the Less Privileged has commended the Nigerian Television Authority for its holistic approach in bringing inclusive programs that cites the plight of people living with disability. The executive director, Paul Ihekoba, stated this when the forum visited the NTA headquarters in Abuja.
We pray that more of this will come up and we will have more good time to celebrate you on these policies of inclusion. And as we will use the network to also expand and let the Nigerian society know what the act that is already designed is. Because the truth is this, so many agencies, so many government personnel have not come to reality with what the act is all about. And there is a need for us as a people to accept the act. If we don't accept it, cohesion will not do the work. But when we accept it, I think it will be easier to have it implemented.
The group, which was at the NTA to seek collaboration, also revealed plans to have a TV program aimed at reducing discrimination against people with disabilities and provide a platform for families of victims to seek justice and public support. The media have been described as a powerful tool in changing the narrative of gender-based violence in Nigeria. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim followed a virtual dialogue between civil society organizations with media executives on the matter.
Women and children research has shown occurs on a daily basis in Nigeria, but many are not reported. Studies also reveals that even those reported are without deserving treatment. The rope, stakeholders say, hangs on the neck of the media actors. Women Affairs correspondent Momso Damien Datti shares her experiences.
Up until now, most of the cases are still being underreported. People think there's an increase, but it's not the increase, it's the level of reportage, I would say. The challenge lies with the follow-up. There should be followed feedback from the start of the case to conclusion.
Following experiences such as Momso's, media executives are stepping up advocacy to end violence against women and girls.
Let us fund the media to enable us to respond effectively and present GBs as we collect evidence for media use to amplify accountability in ending gender-based violence.
We at UN Women recognize that the media can be a force for change.
For Momso and many of her colleagues, the road might be rough and tough, but the story must be told for victims to get justice and create a new social order in Nigeria. In Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
And that is Nationwide today. Remember to connect with NTA to stand against rape and rapists to be a star. I'm Ayo Deji Makinde. Good evening.